This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning everybody. Welcome again to Djuma Private Game Reserve this morning, where we're sitting on a very cold morning, but this is where we're looking at a very much eastern side of this reserve, but this is where we're going to be looking around for the animals, and hopefully we're going to get lucky, because of course the way Pride of Lions heading this way last night when we closed the show. So we jump aboard to your very own live safari through the African bush. Good morning everybody again. So welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve this morning. So my name is Andrew and have BK on camera. So this is how we're going to be operating around, but looking for where is the Pride of Lion. We left them coming this way, and with some few tracks we've seen along quarantine. So I know I'm going to heading over to Chitra, so search there if we can find maybe that Maride again, or maybe what about Sibui, because she was around seen yesterday also. Was not actually great a visual, but hopefully this morning we're gonna get luck with her. While so Lauren will be sitting around for the on Twitter, as well as at FC on YouTube channels. And those of you under the age of 18, you can also use kids questions at WildEarth.tv. And also those of you who haven't been part of the show, or you just kind of started now, you can also go register on WildEarth website and head over to a live safari page, and you can start submit your question there. So this morning we're going to have a Pride lens, and we'll be coming about to see what they're going to find for everybody. And like I said, Lauren, she'll be working in this area, all the entire Djuma. Locate the Talamara. So gorgeous. It's not in through. So everybody, we're going to take a quick look at the weather. So I know what.
Morning everyone, wherever you are in all the destination, welcome to andBeyond Phinda. It's a nice beautiful morning. We are about to get the sunrise. Hello everyone, my name is Busane, and behind the camera we've got Johan, and we're still heading to the area where we're gonna start searching for. You'll see wherever we go the different vegetation. It seems like it's going to be a nice sunrise. Look at that sun shining through the clouds there. That's really amazing. Wow. And it's nice and cold. This is so pretty. So this open grassland where we stop right now, it's a very, very good habitat for cheetah. So here in Phinda, cheetahs are adapted to move through the thicket to hunt the nyalas, and it's where they will come out and spend the night out in this open grassland. Look at that. So while we're driving, what we're looking for is that a head sticking out just above the grass, because if they do hear the sound of an engine, a car coming, they will immediately lift up their head to make sure that we're not a threat, and they'll lie back down again. Because with the sound of an engine, they know that if there's a bigger predators that are approaching them, they're not gonna hear the movement in the grass. It is a beautiful area. So the only clouds that we have at the moment, those clouds along the coast. It seems like it's gonna be a nice clear morning today. Although it feels really, really cold at the moment. I'm trying to keep myself nice and warm with gloves and beanie. Yeah, the sun is rising very, very slowly. But you can see now just behind those clouds, or just at the top of the clouds, you can just see much more light, which means it's getting there. There's a lot of different birds that are busy calling to advertise their territory and telling everyone that this piece of land is still occupied by someone. So early this time of the morning, it's when the different birds will call to advertise and to the other birds that they're still around. So you'll get a lot of birds activities around. Can just hear the African hoopoe calling. Oh, there's also a dark bulbul close by. We're not too far from one of the water holes. You can just hear the hippo calling at the distance as well. So hippos, they just get back now to the water hole. Christopher, it is a very, very beautiful sunrise. I think it's gonna be up now, although it's up already, but it's behind the clouds for us to be able to see it. But because there's no rush in Africa, there's no rush in the bush, so we're gonna spend time and watch it slowly rises. So I was busy chatting about the hippos that this time of the day they just get back to the water hole where they spend a day. So at night they will come out in this open grassland where we are and graze along. Then just before the sunrise they will head back to the water hole to try to protect those skins, because they've got very sensitive skin against the sun. At the moment, while I'm waiting for this sunrise, I'm going to take you across to JP in Pride Lands. You want to greet everyone. Morning.
Good morning and welcome to WildEarth. We're live on Bushwalk at Eco Training Pridelands. For the moment, we're on top of one of the ridges, just enjoying the sunrise. My name is JP LaRue, and behind the camera, we've got Mpo. Our plan is to actually walk these little ridges for the morning and go and see what we can find. In the meanwhile, we would like to encourage you to enjoy that beautiful sunrise that we have. It's always great to get onto one of these elevations and just listen. So far this morning, we heard a number of hyena calls in the distance, and we're going to follow up in that area to go and see if we can spot them. Also a number of birds that are calling in the background. They're mostly all hornbills. They're chatting to one another. We're going to move off and go and see what we can go and find.
You know, you can. So, we're on our way to the south towards Gary, Maine. There, it's been a lot of these line treks, the bride of line treks that we've seen. Last night, the same Talamati bride, they have made their way along this road here. And I'm just going to go stationary for now because then I have to listen to the bush just for a little bit before I move forward. So they may have maybe moved a long way last night. That would be because of a hunting situations, whether they want to maintain the whole area of Djuma in one night and they move off. We're not sure. We'll find out. It's just a beautiful sound made by the birds, such as a woodpecker that they're all pecking trees for their own communication, also search for their own food. But then it seems to be very quiet for us. We can't hear anything except for these birds. So from here, I'm going to follow up on these tracks, see how far they go.
Good morning and welcome back at Bushwalk. We are looking at a mistletoe plant. So quite a few of the plant species out here actually have some form of medicinal, practical or cultural associations with them. And those are some of the things that I really find fascinating. Specific and interesting relationship what we have here with the mistletoe is where it often grows on thorn plants such as the Richelias and Senegalias, which was previously known as acacias. What I also find particularly interesting about this plant is that the seeds are often distributed by species such as barbets that will feed on these little fruits and then distribute the sticky fruits to the next tree. The next part I also find particularly interesting is that the plant will produce these beautiful red flowers, and these are full of nectar, and they generally attract sunbirds, which will then be responsible for pollinating them. We see that there's a number of different relationships and symbiotic relationships that we find in nature. Some of them, both organisms will benefit, where we refer to it as mutualism. In some cases, we only find that one of the organisms is benefiting but is not harming the other, which is commensalism. And then from there, we also get parasitism, where one organism is being advantaged and the other is totally being disadvantaged. In this case, it's a semi or hemiparasitic, which means not a complete parasitic relationship, as it doesn't kill off the plant. In some forms of parasitic relationships, as in dodder, they completely will kill the host plant species eventually. I also find particularly interesting about these mistletoes is when they die off, they leave a gall-like structure at the base of a tree where they started growing, and this is often referred to as a wood rose. Some of my favorite symbiotic relationships out here is actually between dwarf mongoose as well as fork-tailed drongos and also hornbills. And what we often find is that both red bull as well as some yellow-billed hornbills will often wake up these little dwarf mongoose and encourage them to go and feed. It's a behavior that I have seen several times over the years. And what they will do then is, as they're feeding, they'll disturb a number of insects and small little organisms that will then be caught by the hornbills. In return, the hornbills will actually alert these little dwarf mongoose of any potential threat. It is also said that there seems to be a trade-off that they will never predate on the young of a dwarf mongoose. The fork-tailed drongo itself, it also often follows these little dwarf mongoose, but in this case, it doesn't really do anything for them. It just simply benefits from catching the insects that's been disturbed from them. You'll actually notice fork-tailed drongos often doing this with anything from the size of a dwarf mongoose up to an elephant, just by merely following them and benefiting from the meals. If you ever do have the opportunity to go to the Kalahari, such as the area which Tswalu is, you'll sometimes will see that the fork-tailed drongo will also imitate the calls of meerkats, which is also a species of mongoose. And in that case, what they will do is they will wait for them to catch something, produce the alarm call of the meerkats, and then wait for the meerkat to drop the prey item, and then come and steal it. But they also have learned that they can't cry wolf too often, as this will become their disadvantage, as the meerkats will smarten up and learn their game. So in return, they also have to warn them occasionally of potential threats. And in the case of a meerkat, your threats is generally snakes and birds of prey, as well as jackals. Some of the other interesting relationships that we also find with a lot of the thorn trees is a specialized bacteria that lives in the roots. Good morning, Andrew, and welcome to the show. Yes, I do consider myself as a birder. I'm just not as obsessive on going for rarities as I used to be. I do hold a considerable life list for birds for the Southern African region, and it still remains one of my passions. However, in the last few years, tracking has actually started fascinating me more. And to be able to get out there and go and see all these telltale little signs of what the animals have been up to the previous night is incredibly fascinating. Recently, one of my favorite little twitches where I went to go and look at some rare birds, was actually that of a lesser white-throat, which is a warbler that's only been recorded once in South Africa. The same day, I was also very fortunate to see my first African skimmer for the sub-region. I've also traveled before to Botswana to go and see them without luck. And I was really, really excited about seeing this bird. Coming back to the knob fawn and that specialized bacteria that lives in the roots, it's also got an interesting ability to extract nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert that into a usable form and enriching the soils. That's also one of the reasons why often we find that a lot of the thorn trees or trees that are closely associated to the pea family is able to establish themselves into harsh environments which has previously been disturbed. And throughout South Africa, we often find that a lot of the reserves that has been established was on old farmlands where cattle as well as agricultural crops were grown. And quite often what we do find of cattle is that they're actually incredibly destructive in terms of the environment. And then these plants will act almost like plasters, healing the wounds that's been created by these animals and the agricultural practices from the past. Eventually there will better conditions for plants and grasses, which is known as subclimax community species, and these in return will create sufficient amount of shades, seed banks, and eventually will create environments which are suitable for climax plant communities. And hopefully that process from the pioneer to climax will then re-establish it into its natural state. And these processes can sometimes take up to 30 to 60 years, if not longer, depending on the amount of damage that's been created in that area. We're going to continue and go and see what else we can go and find, but let's go and look at what Andrew is up to.
Thanks, JP. Sorry about that. We're just going to wipe the lens a little bit because of when we drive, all foggy, all that step the lens. So we're checking now the southern boundary as I wanted to check, but then these pride of lines tracks that didn't seem to come this far east, so I was just checking if in case they did come this far away, but then they didn't, looks like it. So I'm gonna delay now crossing over to Chitwa. Instead I'm gonna be focusing on finding out of where do they gone and where they are now. So I'm going to be searching around in case we find them as well. Because DJ, I may have your question repeated there. I lost your question. CJ, so you're asking how long is the winter season in South Africa? So roughly 5 months around there. So and this now we're at month of 4th, and then probably around September it's gonna be pretty much slightly ending of these colder. We'll get some giraffe in there, or right inside, so I'm gonna take a look at this giraffe. You okay there, BK? Of course, thank you. Okay, cool. So I think we're in good position here. So this is how these winter lasts for us. And then that's actually a winter without rain, so it's dry winter for us, especially in this part of the world, Lowfield and other regions, except for Cape Town in that area. Then they have a winter rain. So this is the southern giraffe. So they are just stationary, but also it's a good sign, when we look for, you look for lions or cats or anything that they might see around here. They're one of the animals that may just freeze stationary and look to one direction all the time.
We should go for a bit.
So yeah, I'm just gonna reposition a little bit. Okay, cool. So cool that they're right and open. So, but we've seen impala and far left of us as well, so maybe that's why they're looking in that area. And they're one of the tallest animals, giraffe. So they feed on the various tallest trees out here. And then to look for them, if you know the trees that they're more likely to feed on, which is these are acacias trees and not thorns. And I was seeing some of them yesterday when they were eating on one of these toxic trees, which is tamboti trees. They can do that sometimes. So you find, because now this is actually the rise of the day, so they maybe spend a lot of time in this area. They're actually in the highest point. They're far and uphill, so it's good advantage for them to see whoever could be around. So I'm gonna stick for a little bit with this giraffe.
Hi, I'm Dee from the south coast of England. Today I was told I have won the most amazing prize to go to Marataba. Oh, I can't believe it. I became hooked on WildEarth last year when I was trying to escape COVID, and animals are my thing. I just love them and I love what WildEarth does. So that's why I wanted to become an explorer. Just so looking forward to going out to Marataba. Want to do a walking safari. Thank you so much, WildEarth.
WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature.
Hi, I'm Nikki, your guide here at andBeyond in Ngala. So my favorite animal in the African bush definitely has to be the zebra, because like people, with our fingerprints, every single zebra has a different stripe pattern. And, of course, a group of zebras together is called the dazzle. How unique is that? Come and join me or one of my colleagues here in Ngala for a sunrise and sunset safari on WildEarth.
This is a battle of two great carnivores of the African wilderness. Whew. Whoa! You don't want to be under those jaws. Definitely, this round goes to the lion. Look at that. Fantastic.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth Daily.
Hi everyone, my name's Daniel Fisher and I'm going to be your guide this afternoon. I'm looking really forward to taking you through and showing you all the beautiful places here at andBeyond in Ngala. If you have any questions, please register on our website. Once registered, go to the live page feed and post your questions underneath the live feed. Join me on my next safari through andBeyond in Ngala on WildEarth. Send me live questions through the WildEarth website and I'll answer them live from the African bush.
So as we just described that there could be maybe more of giraffe in the wood. So these, they just came out. But you know, I'm not sure they're not happy. They came out running into this direction here to join the other two. But the other two already moved to the far right. So these one are now turning around looking at the back there where they came from. So I'm going to stay put here just to, before I go down and off-roading, checking what it is. But if it's aligned, they may push to hunt. They may show up in this road here. They're looking very much harder, so they may actually see what it is, and they are not actually very good on making sound when they see a danger. Leon, you're asking how tall does an adult giraffe get? So they roughly, the male could get up to 5.5, 6 meters tall, roughly. And the female will be around 4.5 there. So this is actually the tallest they can get. And that growth tollers continuously from the very young age. When a young born is already anything from 1.4 meter and then continuously grow up. So these are the females, not the males. You know, they difference looking at this horn where females, they're very skinny horn they get. This is the one, but then the one we just saw first, and then that was a male with a thicker horn and a bald on top. Sorry about all the mist that you see in the camera there. So these are when they're traveling in the morning with the lens open, so usually it happens. So we will wipe the lens every now and then. So BK, there's a hyena there. So yeah, maybe this is what they're seeing. There's a hyena coming our way. But they're not looking at a hyena, so they're still looking exactly. Oops, now they're running again. So a giraffe have moved off.
Lions.
Oh, BK could see the lions. Oh yes. There's the lions. One of the Talamati pride. With a stumpy tail. So that's a chase. So we're gonna try see if we keep up with the lioness. It looks like they just continue, running in their directions. So there's a road that would take us around from there. She's only one lioness, so it happens maybe there's more where she came from, or yesterday there were around 11 of them, the guy says. Yeah, there's more of them in front of us. BK, want to miss roll forward or? So that we got a hold in, not all of them, but they all probably scattered all over around here. So, and the other one I think that was chasing may come back to rejoin his bride. And then now where they are, they're already crossing into Torchwood property. So follow them there, see how far they go. So there is a road. We can't drive the burn sections. The only thing I've avoided to actually follow her up from that line is straight away from where she ran into because of the burn section. So it's always procedure not to drive the burn section. So it's a road not far from here. We're gonna drive that road. Reach that road, and then we're going to follow them. hungry still, so for them to be able to hunt, the morning allows them to carry on the energies they got. It's phenomenal, and they will keep on the whole time until it's warm enough not to be able to move until they stop. And they may take it easy from there. Once the sun rises and the heat takes place, they're probably just going to settle down and rest.
All right.
In front of us.
Welcome to andBeyond Phinda, everyone. Just located the pride of lion. Wow, that's unbelievable. Look at that male lion walking away. Look how big his tummy is. He's enormous. He's got his brother close by as well. And they're slowly following the female behind. And at the distance, there's a herd of buffalo. Which means you might see some action. Wow. Look like he's limping a little bit. But look at the size of his mane as well. Oh. Probably he's gonna go and lie down as well next to his brother. Can just see he's not putting a lot of weight on that. Seems like it's a front leg. I wonder what happened to him.
Everybody, apologies for that technical issues that was happening in Phinda. We still got a visual of our bride of lion, so I'm going to reposition here. So I'm trying to follow them through just to see how they hunt for us. Well, she's full of blood as well. I see a lot of blood on her, so they may actually maybe killed something small. You can see her blood all over her face. And the rest of the other pride are actually now moving directly to the south, towards the Gari Main in that area. This is where the direction of where the giraffe have ran into. So they actually have a long walk through that night. When we saw them, we were actually just south of the gate, Gary Gate, and they walk across quarantine. And then now they're in Torchwood as we speak. So they may cut into Chito if they don't change that direction. So I think it was worth for us staying with this giraffe and then just to observe them, how they were looking around. Everybody, I'm going to take to the radio because somebody looks like looking for the update. Cool.
I didn't get that.
Sorry, you want to repeat that from Anna Marie? Didn't copy. So she's looking towards us. See all the light is coming to her face quite a lot. She may just stood up as we speak. She's gonna get mobile straight to the south, follow the rest of the pride. We're gonna keep up with her. Where are you working?
Wow. Have a look at one male. He's lying flat onto the ground. Can just see the other male. Look how many scars he's got on his face. That is amazing. Wow. So he's busy keeping an eye on the females, and the females are quite close to the buffaloes. And he might be hoping that they do manage to catch something by the looks of it. But his brother is fast asleep right in front of him. Look at that. Probably it's because of that injury that he's got. That is amazing. Look at that black mane around his neck and quite gold around his face. I think this male, he's got that injury from a fight with the two male lions from the south of the reserve. And he hasn't healed up yet. Just open his eye. So the fight happened very long time ago, whereby we lost one south male against these two males. I think it's because the south males do split up a lot, and these two, they do like to be together most of the time. So one of the south males decided to turn around and head back south. And with 2 against 1, he didn't stand a chance. So they end up killing him. He's painting very heavily with the size of that stomach. So perhaps they might have come across with something, I'll say maybe really small, last night, and he did feed on it. That is why he's got a big belly like that. So the other male with a lot of cards, he's less dominant. You can just see, judging by the size of him and the size of his mane. So he's less more dominant, and the dominant one will get to feed first if the females caught something. So that is why he's still keeping an eye onto the buffaloes and the females. Both of them now, they've got their head down. And the smaller male, he's got even very small mane. You see, compared to the male that's lying flat. Look at that, constantly twitching those ears to try to chase the flies away. Alpi, we estimated these two males are between, or say, 7 to 7.5 years. They're quite old now. So if you have a look at that one at the back, his mane is starting to change to be more grayish in color. So they are in their last stage of their prime. So that is why they don't even go south and challenge the other male that's still alive. It's because of they don't have that strong power yet, or they out of that strong power. They don't want to run around and chase the younger, stronger males away. So when the fight was happening, the south male came into the north and chased these males almost out of their territory into the northern border, and they didn't have any way to escape, or they ran out of land, and it's whereby they stand their ground and fight back. Look at that. Nazarene, yes, they do have very pretty mane. Look at that one, more especially the one on the right, the size of his mane. It would be nice if they can stand up, Nazarene, so that you can see their size. They're quite tall and very big as well. You don't want to come across with them mostly if you're walking. Look how much flies he's got on his face. He's got plenty of flies. Probably they're all attracted by the smell of the carcass. The carcass that he was feeding on it. So from where they are now and where they were last seen yesterday, it is very far away. So they are tired now after the long evening walk. And where they are, it's nice and open, I think, if this. I think where they are now, they quite happy, although if the sun starts to warm up a lot, and there's some tree lines not too far away from where they are. So they will go then and walk away and find a nice shady spot to lie down. It seems like now they're forgetting that they're with the lioness close by. But if they do hear the commotion between the buffalo and the lion, they will immediately lift up their head. Look at that one. So if they hear the tiny little movement or pick up a vibration on the ground, so he's up straight away. So he's busy keeping an eye onto the lioness and the buffalo. So at the moment we're gonna keep quiet and listen the sound of the bush.
Hello, my name is Marnie Kell from the Greater Toronto Area of Ontario, Canada. I am most excited to meet some of the guides that I feel I already know. And I'm going to very much enjoy riding along with them to see what they see most days while they're broadcasting these safaris to us, while also staying at the beautiful Simbambili Lodge. WildEarth has brought so much to my life, and I am thrilled and grateful to have this opportunity. Thank you.
Sign up to be an explorer today, and it could be you jetting off on an all-expenses-paid-for safari experience. WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature.
There's a grounding earthiness to this place that we feel in our ancestors. It's a place where, believe it or not, we evolved as a human species, and anyone who's come to Africa will understand that. The connectivity that the continent has to the person and to people's souls is next level. I'm thoroughly looking forward to taking you on your next adventure when we explore all the small and big things.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
Looks like it's a very difficult climb because every time it tries to climb, the ground is breaking, so it slides down. But it's the only one. Look at that. That is a call of desperation with a cub. It's like, what are you doing, mommy? Oops. Oof.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Hello, I'm Marna, your WildEarth Safari Guide from andBeyond Ngala. What I really like about connecting with WildEarth viewers is that we get to speak to viewers instantly, and I get to show you this beautiful property. If you want to ask me a question, register on the WildEarth website. Simply head over to the live safari page and you can submit your questions there. Join me or one of the other guides twice a day on WildEarth.
just see that younger male. He's just, there we go. He doesn't want to lie down very flat because he's interested on the females at the background. So he does keep an eye onto them. The buffaloes are so close to them now. But it seems like also the females are quite vulnerable to go for those buffaloes because they know that if they go for those buffaloes, they will get themselves injured because buffaloes are very strong animals. But if these two males were also involved, or they were also close by, they would be able to help them out very easily by chasing. I'm gonna show you the females now. There's one female, although it's quite tough to see, but you can just see her. She's busy watching those buffaloes, and there's another female in front of the one that we can see lying down on a shady spot. And the buffaloes are not even aware that there's lambs close by. Look at that one busy rubbing itself against the tiny little bush, probably to try to remove the ticks, because the amount of ticks that we have here, it is amazing. Look at that. Look like she's also losing the interest of those buffaloes. She's now looking the opposite direction. She's not interested anymore. You can just see the other female in line with that one. Right there, you can just see her head. She is still watching those buffaloes. She's got her eyes locked onto the buffalo. I think by the looks of it, it's only two lionesses that we can see, unless if there's more that's lying down in the long grass or in these bushes between the lioness that we can see and the buffaloes. Look at those buffaloes with the horns sun reflecting onto their horns. It's so amazing. They don't have a clue. If they do see that there are lions nearby, they will rush in and try to chase the lions away. But at the moment, I might be waiting for the right time. Tiger jaw days. In this pride, there's quite a lot of members. If they're all together, I think they're close to 11 lions. So there are 4 younger cubs, and there's normally 2 sub-adult female, which I assume that these are the sub-adult female. So which means the rest of the pride or the bigger moms are not here close by. They were seen up, their tracks were seen just, I would say, maybe 4 or 5 kilometers away from here. But because there's some longer bushes between us and the buffaloes, can't really see if the whole pride is here or not. But if the whole pride was here, the likely baby calves will be then fed back, because they know that buffaloes can cause the huge damage to them. So they rather prefer going for the easier prey than going for buffaloes. So these lions here, they're not like lions in Kruger National Park, whereby they'll follow buffaloes around. So they have learned that it's much easier for them to catch zebras and wildebeest, warthogs, and nyalas, because those animals, the chances of them get wounded are very, very slim. So I haven't seen the lions killing a buffalo here for a very, very long time. But you never know. With one female, she's looking in the direction of the lions. But you'll see immediately she sees that there's lions close by, she will shake her head and mark chat to the buffalo, and the rest of the herd will then pay attention from what she's seen. It look like they super, super relaxed. And just see one of them smelling the air. So perhaps it might have picked up a scent of the lioness. You can just see. But the size of this lioness, she's huge. And beyond, on the left-hand side of us, there's one young male that's like busy watching. He's got his head up. So perhaps the sun is starting to warm up. And he might want to move into the shady spot the way he's looking. He's now looking onto an opposite direction from the lioness. They normally don't like the flies, but it seems like they might be tired and they don't even care. Look how many flies he's got on his mane. And at the end of the mane there, on his shoulder, he's got a couple of flies. A lot of them behind the ears as well. So he's definitely interested into something. Perhaps he had the movement of something walking into that dense vegetation where he's watching. Can just see even he's got his ears facing into the direction where he's looking, keeping an eye. So where we are, there's a lot of nyalas. He might have had the nyalas walking through the bushes, and perhaps he's still very tired to go and attempt the hunt. So you might have heard that male lions, they don't really hunt their own kill. That's not actually a truth. So a truth is, if they because they do spend a lot of time on their own, walking around, patrolling their territory. If they come across with opportunity for them to kill something, they will then definitely take it. I have seen one of these male lion chasing a buffalo. I think it was this one close to us, the bigger one. And no, it wasn't a buffalo, it was a giraffe. And he caught the female giraffe on his own. And it took him for about an hour to finally kill the giraffe. Because he didn't be able to suffocate around the throat. The neck of the giraffe, it's quite thick. And giraffe, it's got very, very tough skin. So then he ended up eating while it was still alive. It was amazing to see. Look at that pretty face. Wow. And with that yellow flower behind him. He's watching, making sure that the females are making or doing the job. There's one buffalo which is like coming so close to those lions. Obviously, it doesn't have a clue that the lions are close by. So those yellow flowers behind him, they're known as curry bush. So if you had to smell it today, smell like a curry. Wow, that's amazing. So with him looking really alert like that, which means he didn't get much meat and he's not as full as like his brother. Because if he was really full as well, he was going to be lazy and he was going to perhaps even find a nice spot or even he was going to lie flat like his brother. So while we're still in the meantime, we can sit quietly and enjoy the sound of the bush.
hold it here for maybe 2 minutes, then I'm also going to make space for Nigel when he's close by.
Wow, look at that lioness close to us, the way she's watching those buffaloes. She's definitely keeping an eye onto them. She's also watching her sister, probably for her to go first. But she looks like she's quite comfortable where she is. Can just see one buffalo right behind that bush, which is not too far away from the lioness. Look at that, the way she's lifting up the head. And Nazreen, yes, the savanna, they will also hunt if they see an opportunity. So these savanna, they're quite big now, although they're not as good as mom. But as I said earlier on, Nazreen, that I can't really see any more lions around. It might happen that the elder females are somewhere close by. But these savanna, they've been on their own for quite some time. And they do make their own kill. They're not relying a lot now onto mom. So the male lions are also up. They got their head up now and looking around. So it might happen that those females, they feel much more confident with the male lion being so close. Look at them. Now you can see nicely the size difference between the two of them. I think in the meantime, we're going to take you across to Andrew. He also got himself some lions.
Thank you very much, Busani. We got the lions indeed still. And then we're pushing hard actually just to follow behind them, see how far they've gone. But now they're not far from Chitwa Dam itself. They're in Chitwa. So what loop they have done, cutting into Torchwood, again back into Chitwa there. And then all the noise that you can hear on our right inside, that's all of the helmeted guinea fowls. Probably spot the lions and all are just warning going on there. So one of the young male that is actually probably interested on these guinea fowls. We're just going to see how he's going to probably go around the mound trying to hunt them down. Just going a little forward a little bit. Oh, there's another female lying in a shadow here. See, the guinea fowl is actually not far away from far, but not really far. So if it was a leopard, a guinea fowl wouldn't do that, because they know for sure leopard can run to them. But they are not with the lions. They big cats, these animals anyway. We're losing a lot of energy just to chase the bird down like that and know that it's going to fly off somehow. So it's actually quite a beautiful open area here, where we're not sure what their plan is, whether they're going down to drink, or they're going to stick around in here, watching who would be arriving into that very beautiful watering hole in front of them. So they update about the dark man. I think he's seen inside the Arathusa. That's what I heard on the radio. So he's far away from them. But maybe later this afternoon or in the evening, when he mobiled again towards these directions, he would eventually join them or find them, because they communicate also sound, and they can follow one another through on glands they have and their footprint every time they walk. If they actually walk recent in the area, the partner who had to follow behind were able to sniff on the ground and pick up their scent from there. So it's going to be really cool just to sit here and see what they would be up to.
Suspended above Kenya's Masai Mara is a breathtaking lodge where unrivaled service goes hand in hand with extraordinary wildlife sightings. Ngala Mara offers a quiet place where guests have the opportunity to reconnect with the world again. Sign up to be a WildEarth Explorer before the end of July, and you and a friend could win a 3-night stay at this award-winning lodge. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature. The importance of forests cannot be underestimated. Over 1 billion people live in and around forests, depending on them for fuel, food, medicine, and building materials. The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, is the national implementer for a program called LEAF. The LEAF program makes use of indigenous forests grown on school properties to teach pupils about biodiversity. This directly instills a sense of ownership of the natural surroundings and reconnects children with our biomes and heritage. WESA needs your help to bring nature back to schools. Ask your school to join the program through the link on their website. Together with WESA, you can help take this incredible program to schools across the country.
Okay, there's another big male coming in from our left here. Another big male, look at this. This is the one. Now you're going to see sparks fly, guys. Guys, it doesn't get better than this, eh? Yes, unbelievable. Africa, I love you, eh?
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Wow. We can just see the buffaloes now nicely. It is a very big head. Look at them all. That is really amazing. Look at them. And the lioness, she's keeping an eye onto the buffalo that's lagging behind. You can just tell by her body language, the way she's looking. So you'll hear the sound of a car that's coming now to have a look at these male lions. Look like the other female, she's about to lose the interest. She does look like she's got her eyes closed now. Look at that. Which means she knows that the buffaloes are way too big for her. Although this lioness, look at this one close to us. Do you see that black mark on her shoulder there? That one there. So it does look like a bite marks the way that black mark. Look like something did bite her there. So perhaps it's from fighting. So we noticed that lioness with that scar, she hasn't had babies yet, but we estimated about 4 years old. So they're not very, very small. Look at that big yawn. So we have seen them mating with the male. Yes, they are. They do look exactly like they good hunting position, the way they were looking. But they have allowed the buffaloes to cover some ground away from them, which means they know that buffalo are the biggest threat to them. Obviously, they can't afford to get injured or hurt because they're not going to be able to catch whatever opportunity they come across with. But she is so pretty. Look at how she's watching us, and also perhaps keeping an eye onto the male. Like she's gonna fall asleep as well, exactly like her sister. So I think with them, like watching the buffalo, they were also hoping that the two male lion will be able to help them. But the two male lions are very, very lazy at the moment. Both of them are lying flat onto the ground. So the buffaloes have covered some ground. Can't really see them now. Oh, there they are. I think what are these buffalo gonna do? They're gonna graze along this open grassland and end up into the water hole. There's a water hole not too far from here. That's where they will gonna go and have a morning drink. Normally they will drink twice a day. See, if you had to look in the front of their head, there would be an old wise female and the males. They know where to find a nice, good grazing spot and where the water holes are. So those wise males and females, they're known as pathfinders. So I think after they have a morning drink, if the sun does heat up a lot, then they'll find a nice shadow spot or even a mud wallow to cool themselves down and lie down for a day. Then later in the afternoon, they'll go back to the water hole and graze along up until the sun goes down. So they're known as crepuscular animal, which is the animal that are active early hours of the morning and late in the afternoon. Look at that. Just see that female chewing or chew the cud. Can't really see much bigger male buffalo within this herd. It might happen there's one or two dominant male. Wow. You can just see her as well. She's still keeping an eye. But she almost about to lose. Look at that. She knows that if she does go for those buffaloes, she will increase her chances of catching something. She's really hesitant what to do. You can just see the other female, she's up. Look at that, the size of her. She's also enormous. You can just see as well, she's on a very good condition. We're so lucky for our lions to be in a very good condition. Because we also control, because we're the small game reserve, we also control in breeding. So by the male lion will be able to mate with their own sisters and with their own babies as well. So we don't want that to happen. If these old male lions, if we see that they're gonna start inbreeding, then we'll move them out and get the new male. Because we do like our lions to be in a very good condition. Look at how she's scratching her neck there. She's got an itchy neck. Look at that. Wow. That feels so nice. There's a male lion close to us on our left-hand side. You can just hear him busy licking his face. I'm gonna spend time with these lions and see what they're gonna be up to. But in the meantime, let's take you across to Pride Lands.
So everybody, indeed, we still got the pride here. These one are just lying close to that termite mound, and the guinea fowl, they have actually moved off the area. So now all you hear now, it's all of these Egyptian geese that are making noises, because some of the lioness have made their way further south of here. But eventually all of them, they will move down to that watering hole and then probably drink there, but we're not sure what they're going to do after that, because this is actually very nice opened. Maybe they're going to take it easy around here. And it was just, what I just confirmed also was a news about the Torchwood Bride. And then I also asked how many of them are there. And this guy say there are about 11 of them, but they're actually out of reach for us. We cannot go in there. So they pretty much on the far east of us, close to Kruger National Park boundary. As we're looking at these one now, they have blood on them, but they're probably, whatever they kill, maybe it was so small, could it be maybe impala? Because it looks like they count all 12 here, so impala will be really nothing for such a bride. And you see they're still carrying a lot of blood on their face. They haven't had a time to clean themselves, which maybe later on when they got time, they would clean themselves. And the next time we see them, you wouldn't think it's them because they will be just cleaned. They still have a lot of energy. The morning still provide greater temperature for them. If there is anything they can hunt here, they can carry on do that while we're watching. But I doubt there is not such an antelope around here. So maybe from here later on, they may cut straight south or back west. And then this is where they belong. I don't think they're going to go further east from here. They used to. So we're just going to make sure how many vehicles coming our way here, otherwise we'll have to stay.
Still sitting with these two male lions at the moment. One lioness, she's starting to walk into the direction of the buffalo. But in the meantime, we're gonna sit quietly and enjoy the African bush.
So our pride, they still around in this area. As you can see, some of them are starting making their way straight south towards the watering hole, and then the rest of them still on there, just behind the vehicle there, just taking it easy. But it amazes me that they don't reach the water, so they're just sitting there before the water. So they're looking now west, whether there is something arriving on the far west, trying to drink from the far end there. That's where they're looking. I'm not sure. Can't see from here. And it's probably maybe they're not that much thirsty. Most cats, when they eat, a lot of time they're obeying a lot of blood on the animals' moistures, and then for them to go drink, it's not going to be every now and then. Yes, that one there just before the water went to the very top of the mound. So everybody, this sighting is coming very much occupied, so I'm going to have to move. But if there's a chance, I would like to come back. In the meantime, I'm going to be sending you across to Busan, also who has got airlines.
Wow, it was really nice to see Andrew with his lines. The buffaloes are now aware of the lioness, and there's a male lion as well, walking just on the side of us. Look at the size of him. He's enormous. See, he doesn't want to lose the sight of the lioness. See, he's gonna send mark against that bush. Look at that. Listen to that sound. Wow. That's unbelievable. So the buffaloes are coming closer and closer now. They want to make sure that the lions are walking away. And the other male lion will also follow shortly. So they want to make sure how many lions there are, and they want to make sure that they still see the lions before they walk away. Because the lions have moved into the dense, much more dense vegetation now. So they're not gonna go and try to chase the lions into the vegetation where they gone to, because that will then increase the chances of them getting caught by lions. Obviously, because they can't run very fast and they can't keep up with the lion. Look at that big female. She's making sure that everyone is nice and safe. So you'll see, as soon as they see that lions have moved away, they will then go back and move completely away from this area. They're so clever. They're all keeping an eye on the danger. Look at them all. They're all watching where they last saw the lion. It is amazing to see. The way they look after their babies. So that lion, that female, Candice, the lions here in Phinda, mostly they don't really hunt buffaloes. But obviously, if they spot opportunity like today, one of the lioness, she did get very, very close to the buffalo. They don't really enjoy hunting buffaloes because they've got like many different prey species that they may go for. And they do find the other prey species very easily. So they don't have to stick or follow buffaloes where the buffaloes are. It's because of those sharp horns. Look at that. Look how sharp is that horn. So you definitely, if you're the lion, you don't want to mess with that horn. You rather prefer something that's least dangerous. You just see they start turning away now. Also keeping an eye still on those lions. But she's so scared to go straight inside there. There's the younger bull. She's so scared to go into that tree line. So So that behavior, which means she still sees the lions. The way she's shaking her head and snorting. They've got very, very big ears. Look at the size of those ears. Uh-oh. Let's hope that she doesn't cross into that dense vegetation. Because with her trying to run at the full speed and run out on that dense vegetation, it's going to be very tough for her. Look how many there are. Yes, Anna Marie, we're so lucky. Yeah? We're definitely lucky. Can't believe how lucky we are. And while we were searching for these lions as well, I came right here. And they end up being very, very close to the road. And to get them walking around, this time of the day, you don't get to see lions walking around. That shows us that we're so lucky. So they're so clever, they don't want to go to the tree line there. I also do like to see some action. But sometimes it can be horrible to watch. Mostly with buffaloes. And if the lion do catch a buffalo, they don't really suffocate it nicely, or they can't really suffocate it around the neck, and one has to hold the mouth to stop the buffalo breathing. And if it's a bigger pride, then they would start feeding on it while it's still alive. Oh, they're going right inside there. You see the way they're moving inside together. Make sure that there's no one who's gonna go ahead of someone. But because now they're not shaking their head and snorting a lot, which means lions have moved away. Can just see them walking out and looking very, very relaxed. Can just see one female standing just on the edge there. It's amazing. I think in the meantime, I'm going to spend time with them and see what's going to be the outcome of this standoff of lions and buffaloes.
Hello everyone, my name is Trishala and I am a naturalist and safari guide here in Djuma Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands in South Africa. I think that the information that we provide, and most importantly the questions that you ask, give both you and I a really good idea of what's going on. My friend Fernando here, he's a flat-necked chameleon and I love them. They're just these gems that you manage to find in the bush.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
I've seen something I've never seen here before. Look at these cubs. One is crossing the river. It's being washed away, unfortunately, but I'm sure the mother is going to save her. Look at that. How beautiful. Look at that. One crossing, two to go. How cool is this?
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
My name is Lauren and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
So we don't see any of these tracks here. So it happens maybe you walk down into the river here. So I'm gonna check the cut line. Not too sure what is going to happen because it looks like these pride of line, they're going to be in that area. If they ever make their way down in this way, then if Maurice is around, he's going to have to disappear. So you would avoid the lines.
Welcome back everyone. So the lions have moved away from the buffaloes and they have found a nice comfortable spot for them to lie down. And we can just see one male and there's another female lying behind the bush. And there's another female and male will be there somewhere. There's another male, you can just see the part of his mane. It was really nice to experience the whole
drama.
Because most of the time you don't really experience that kind of an experience to see how a buffalo all come together to chase the lions away. And mostly in the daytime, normally the whole thing will happen overnight. And because they quite far away from the buffalo now, they're also happier and relaxing. So the buffalo have moved away back into the open grassland where they feel much more confident. You can hear a lot of birds busy chirping, trying to warn all other animals in the area that there's some predators. It was amazing to see the moment the buffalo started chasing the females away, and the male, he went straight for the females. So which means one of these females, she's on estrus, and he's keeping an eye onto them. He's making sure that he doesn't lose a sight of them. Look at that now, twitching that ears. So because the two of them are brothers, so when it comes to mating purposes, oh, look at that. Look at that one. Something disturbed him. Look at that. Look at his lip. He's got a hanging lip. So I think there's something that happened to his lip. Perhaps maybe fighting with his brother. Because when they were fighting against the South male lion, he didn't have a hanging lip like that. So when it comes to mating purposes, although they're brothers, but they will fight. Sham, it seems like he's gonna have the lip like that for the rest of his life. Chris, I think they came from the game reserve quite close to Kruger National Park. Although I've forgotten the name of that game reserve. But they came from Mpumalanga somewhere. It seems like they are carrying that Kalahari gene. A golden face around, golden mane around the face, and very dark around his neck. Look at that. Yeah, the size of him is enormous. And he doesn't have a lot of shade where he is at the moment. With the size of that mane, he's gonna start getting really, really hot. So maybe that is why he set up very quickly. Look at that. Seems like he doesn't know what to do with that, with the size of the stomach, although he wants to move. So the last time I saw these two male, the one that we're watching, he was a lot more dominant than the other one. So it does change up. Look at that. He's up. Look at the size of him. Yeah, he's definitely limping. Look at that. Listen to that sound. He's enormous. He's big. And he didn't put a lot of weight onto that front leg. So what I was saying is that when they first introduced these two male, the bigger one, he was a lot more dominant. and the smaller one take over, and the bigger one. But at the moment, the bigger one is still more dominant than the other one. So it does change a lot. The females are fast asleep. She's also enjoying that shady spot. You can just see the other female through the bushes, also painting. So I think it's where they're gonna spend a lot of time around here for the rest of the day. Wow, it is really nice to see them. So these two male, I just remembered now where they came from. It's a game reserve quite close to Barberton, which is known as Komazi Game Reserve. So Chris, I just remember your question now. Or remember the place. Look at how she was looking around and make sure that there's nothing approaching or coming close to them. Because they also know that they left the buffalo not too far away from them. So with them spending a whole day around here, if the opportunity comes or if the Nyalas come and walk right next to them, you'll see the body language will change very quickly and be after that prey species that will come near them. I have seen mostly this pride of lion before, whereby they make, I think, 4 different kills in one day. Because they're opportunistic hunters. During the drought season, they spend a lot of time around the particular water hole. So here, because have a look around where she is, there's a lot more sand. So this place, the water holes, they don't really hold water for very long time. See how sandy it is. So we have to pump water into this piece of land. And during the drought season, they were so smart and they spent a lot of time around that water hole. And they were killing 4 or 5 nyalas in one day. Because they're opportunistic hunters. They don't know, obviously, when it's going to be the next meal for them. But in the meantime, I'm going to spend one more time around these lands. Then after that, we'll move out and try to find something else. I think I'm gonna adjust a little bit and position ourselves nicely on the right hand side so that we can be able to see the male as well. Wow. I think at the moment I'm gonna sit here quietly and see what is
So we still bumbling around since that line, still a lot of lineup that it was a lot of lineup there, but we have a privilege to stay with them as much as we can anyway. But now we're on the bumble, hoping to find anything else. But we didn't actually pick up more on that young male leopard track, so then it was not actually a good signal area for us. So we're gonna move bumble around. So yeah, this is what we're going to be doing. So we came back to the cut line, and then it's a cut line again that's separating the Torchwood and the Djuma. So this is what we're hoping to find, anything that we find in this area. But I'm scanning my radio as well, so if it's anything that is going to be picked up, or if there is a chance that line sighting it's ongoing, then we're going to return. Looks like a dwarf mongoose and a dry wood there. It's probably on his search for a food, early breakfast. Only seen one, so it happens that there is more of them. This is actually best time of the day when the sun rise and the warm up come up, and then they would just also started to get mobile. Busy, I don't know, it's trying to fit into that holes, and then you find there is more around that we cannot see. But usually when in a group, there's got to be one that is checking up for an emergency approach. So that once that So Ken is asking what mongoose do eat. So they kind of mix insect such as the beetles, and then looks like there, as BK said, it's got a millipede, I think. So that's what pretty much they eat, beetles, insect. When they participate on getting into termite mound, they would also eat these termites if it's a chance, such as a lizard, geckos, even kill snake to eat as well. So this is what they eat. And they're brown in color, so they don't have many colors, only one color, all of our dwarf mongoose. But you find them in such a number of probably 7 up to 15, probably 20 in a group. And when it comes to the feeding methods, they don't like really sharing. So up it goes. Looks like it's going to catch up with the rest of the other mongoose. So I'm going to carry on the bumble. So in the meantime, I'm going to be sending you across to Busana with the buffaloes.
Wow, it is really nice to see the small mammals with Andrew, but we've got slightly bigger mammal. These buffaloes, they haven't moved very far away from where they saw lions. Probably, perhaps it's to make sure that the lions they don't really come back out again and try to stalk them. You can just see the two younger males that are lying down. But they do look very, very relaxed. Look at that oxpecker. It's got bright yellow eye and bright red bill. It's gone just behind the horn there. Look at it. So it's busy looking for any ticks that she can guide. But obviously if they do come across with the wound, they will peel it open and drink blood. Just gonna quickly show you the red bill oxpecker here on the bed book. So that's this one that we're looking at. You can just see that a yellow eye. If it had like a red eye, it will be a yellow bill, hornbill, and the base of the bill of the yellow bill oxpecker. It is yellow just on the base of the bill. Wow, that's really nice to see. But these ones are two younger males. Have a look how big, or the thickness of the horns, which is known as a boss. It's quite thick and big. So the main aim is to protect the brain if they're fighting. Look at that. Compared to the female that we saw earlier on, it had like much thinner set of horns. Like that one. There's the two females. See how thin their horns compare. And they don't have like much thicker boss compared to the male. Because they don't really have to. You can see the difference between the two of them. Because they don't really have to fight for dominancy. See that red bill oxpecker still happy. Victor is not really a leader, but there will be an old, wise female and a male that will lead the herd around. So there's not only one individual like a matriarch society. They don't have matriarch. They have those old wise female and the male that will know where is the good grazing spot. And those are males and female, they're known as pathfinders. They know exactly where to find water. So at the moment, we're gonna take you across to JP in Pride Lands. So we're gonna drive around and leave these buffaloes and see what else we can find.
And welcome back to Bushwalk. We've been walking this little dolerite ridge and we've noticed a large number of marula trees that has been damaged in this area. So marulas are one of my favorites. I especially love the fruit, and so does elephants. And this is why they quite often target these trees for their fruit, but they also go for the inner bark. And here we can see how the inner bark has been accessed by stripping off the outer layers of the bark. And when elephants do so, they actually use their tusk. And for those of you that are new to the show and haven't heard this before, elephants can either be left or right tusk orientated, just like us as humans can be left or right hand orientated. And you can notice which is the preferred tusk by looking at which one is the shortest. Some of the other things that I've seen that's quite interesting over here, there's a large amount of resin that the tree has exuded to try and protect it. We find that the resin helps against dehydration. It also helps against antifungal growth, and it flushes out insects that are getting into areas which has been damaged. It's also said that the latex and resins can also be toxic to insects once it's been released, and overall it almost acts like a little plaster that the tree will release. Just to come back to the marula trees itself, I've also noticed there's a large amount of marula kernels right underneath the tree. And here we have some of them. And this is the inside of the fruit of a marula. And this is most likely indicating that this might actually be a female tree, as this marula trees have separate sexes, both male as well as female trees. And often the indication that it might be a female tree is the large amount of kernels lying underneath it, or sometimes it can also be brought there by elephants. But we'll also notice that the area directly underneath the female trees are more often trampled compared to that of male trees. So one of the practical uses for the marula fruit itself in this area is actually to make jams. They also make beer out of it. And then for those of you who are probably more familiar with cream-based liqueurs, such as Bailey's, we also make a very unique South African liqueur from fruit, and that's known as marula cream. We also quite often notice that quite large branches of these trees are also broken off by elephants. They often do that simply by wrapping the trunk around it and then pulling it down. Where these branches are broken off, we also often find that natural rot holes will occur, and these then form very important nesting sites for a number of different birds. So unlike barbets and woodpeckers that can excavate their own holes in the side of a tree, this becomes important nesting sites for species such as rollers, as well as a number of different hornbills that will then seal up those little entrances to keep out any unwanted visitors. And some of it, when we also find incredibly large rot holes, these will then become nest cavities for endangered bird species such as the southern ground hornbill, which needs a nest cavity of approximately 40 centimeters in diameter.
Hi, I'm Dee from the south coast of England. Today I was told I have won the most amazing prize to go to Marataba. Oh, I can't believe it. I became hooked on WildEarth last year when I was trying to escape COVID, and animals are my thing. I just love them and I love what WildEarth does. So that's why I wanted to become an explorer. Just so looking forward to going out to Marataba. Want to do a walking safari. Thank you so much, WildEarth.
WildEarth Explorers. It's in your nature. As one of the industry's best and Fagasa Indoors training institutes, NJ Moorfield Guide College produces professional guides of exceptional caliber and gives students from around the world an incredible experience. NJ Moore offers courses to suit all types of interests. The full-length career course results in a FAGASA-accredited qualification and the option of a 6-month internship at one of Mall Family Collection's luxury safari lodges. Shorter courses are a great introduction for those considering a career in field guiding or even a life-enriching experience in your gap year. With spaces still available in July, don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity to live your African dream.
You are cheeky. That was a brave decision. Amber Eyes is... Oh. That is so magic. That was absolutely wonderful. Amber Eyes just gave that cub an enormous hug.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth.
Good morning and welcome back on Bushwalk. We're still on our Dollarite crest where we've been walking, and there's a large amount of signs of elephants that has been in this area. This ranges from trees that has been broken and also large amounts of elephant dung that's been left behind. So an interesting fact is that most elephant bulls can consume approximately some 300 kilograms of food. And we worked that out, that it's some 65,700 kilograms of food that they can eat. That roughly equates, depending on the size of the elephant, to some 8 to 10 times their own weight that they can consume in a year. Just to show you how the elephant dung looks like, I'm just going to break open a piece. A lot of different plant materials inside here. So for those of you that have joined us for the first time, we've actually told this in the past where they can actually been recorded to eat 157 different plant species, but they almost used almost every part of the different plants. So there's a number of different practical uses you can use this for. If you're dependent on transporting a coal, as you don't have a lighter or anything else to make a fire, you can put the coal inside the dung and then take that with you. It will keep smoldering inside there. What you can also use this for is to start off with fire or making fire. One of the other practical purposes I like from this is to actually put pieces of this next to our fireplace at night, burn this, and it actually provides a beautiful aroma which also deters mosquitoes. And if you're really in need of opening up your sinuses and your chest, you can burn a piece of this dung, put a blanket or a towel over your head and then inhale that smoke to open up your chest as well as your sinuses. Many years ago, I used to work with a tracker by the name of Jerry. He used to often take the elephant dung. As he says, it consists of the same material as the inner bark and the bark that he was looking for to make the different medicines. And he would simply soak this in the water and then drink that water to help him to clean out his stomach. Over the years, I've also seen that a number of novelty shops have created paper from elephant dung. However, I strongly disagree with it that we take elephant dung out of the natural ecosystem to make paper. It forms a very food source for a number of different insects, and these range from termites as well as dung beetles. For the last few months, our insect population has been very low as it's been incredibly cold, and we find that there's generally a decline of up to 99% of all insect life within a specific area during the winter months. It's also one of the reasons why many bird species actually migrated back into areas directly north of the equator, as well as into Europe and North Africa, where there's a greater abundance of insect life at this moment. For the next few months, they will all come back into South Africa. Generally, our first migrants appear here in August, and I generally find that it is the yellow-billed kite, which is one of the first ones to appear. And then from September onwards, there's more and more of them that will arrive. Probably one of the last ones to arrive is in late November, which is one of my favorite kingfisher species, which is known as a woodland kingfisher. We're going to continue our walk and go and see what else we can go and find. Let's go and see what Andrew is up to.
So everybody, we got a Now the kudu, the greater kudu. It looks like we're looking at the female there, so it's probably more than one, I think, but there's only one that we can see looking at us. So kudu also, they're one of the ungulates, so they're herbivores. They eat grasses, or they mainly browsers, so they can eat grass, but they rely on the browsing from these trees around here. So you mainly find them in a thick bush, because that's where they get their food from. But also, look at these ears, how bigger they are compared to their even head. So they can even listen very well. So they will rely on such birds' calls and these squirrels. Any of alarm call that will be happening around them. So this is how they work with the other animals for safety. So animal dogs are specialized with the browsing. Sometimes these trees can produce such a chemical, which is a tannin net. It's actually a chemical that won't allow any browsing animals to be browsing at trees the ones they had that chemicals on them. And that's why sometimes they can't stay in one area for quite a long time. Evie, so you asking what is the difference between the kudu and the Ngala? So both species, they males have horns, which also kudu has horn, the males, the females no horn, but then it comes for a different part that the Ngala females are purely yellow, but the vertical stripe is still there. As much as a male, they still have a kind of a slightly stripe, the male, but they're dark in color, so there is a difference. Where they kudu, they're always in that color gray with a vertical stripe there, but the male would be the same color, only difference that they have horns, and the ridge, which is the beard, grow along their throat, neck, all the way down to their forelegs. So everybody, I'm on a bumble, so I'm hoping to find the other elephants. In the meantime, I'll be sending you across to Busan with a bird.
We have found the two birds that are walking onto the open grassland. There's two secretary birds. Have a look around how pink they are around the eyes. You can just see another one. There we go. Look at that long legs. You see around the face, they're quite pink. and very sharp hook bill as well. So they're walking around this open grassland to look for snakes. They are so pretty. Look at those feathers behind the head or behind the neck. So if they get excited of something, or if they spot a snake, they will raise those feathers. It's unbelievable how much a distance they covered. So I think it's a male and a female. So I think the one on the left, that could be a male. He is much more pink around his face. Let's see if your hand can try to zoom it. It's gonna go just behind the lala palm tree. They're so clever the way they walk. They don't leave a very big gap in between the two of them, just in case if they see something and attack. So with male and a female, both of them together, it might happen that they also have a nest nearby. That is really nice to see. You don't get to see those quite often. So they do prefer a much open grassland. We're so lucky. Look at them. And you see that one, it's much more big as well in terms of sizes. Wow. It's always amazing how they communicate which direction to go. And they don't go far apart. So in winter time, we don't really see a lot of snakes. So that is why maybe we haven't seen them getting excited of something. I think in the meantime, I'm gonna hang around here and see what are these two birds gonna be up to.
Good morning and welcome back to Bushwalk. At the moment we're looking at this small little hole that's been created off air. Now, let's maybe send them a message. Good morning and welcome back to Bushwalk. We're just looking at a porcupine digging over here. We're just next to a little footpath. I often find that porcupines like to use these well-established footpaths as well as roads, as that they don't have to unnecessarily clamber and try and crawl through a number of things, and in that way they conserve a large amount of energy. We also find that they are territorial, so they do mark their territories along the edges of these footpaths as well as roads, and therefore they spend less time actually demarcating and energy in terms of demarcating that territory by moving through vegetation. Just to come back to the hole, one of the telltale signs that this is a porcupine as well, not a artifact, is that we don't see broad nail marks on the inside. And generally when we look at a porcupine dig, it creates a narrow little V-shaped digging marking. Sometimes we also notice that it has small little blunt nails that mark on the side of the entrance. And when we do start looking inside these little holes. We'll notice if it was aardvark that there's generally small little holes of termite tunnels. In this case there's no little holes, but we'll notice that there was some root that was being chewed off right over here. As porcupines are rodents, they're continuously gnawing on roots, tubers, and even feeding on the outer layer of bark. Sometimes we also find that they will be gnawing on bones, and they love taking bones back towards their dens. Quite often if you see an active porcupine den, you'll notice the bones that's littered all outside the entrance of that big burrow system.
We have tried to keep up with these two secretary birds. They slowly walking along. They're still hunting, looking for opportunity for them to catch something, as it's still early in the morning. They're doing exactly like those lions and lions that we saw, busy attempting the kill. Oh, there's a lot of flank lane that gets spooked, so they all panicked and fly off. You can just see that one. It's moving to the area where it saw those flank lane flying from. So they're slowly walking away now. They're about to get to the tree line, so we might lose the sight of them. Off they go. There's another one. There's one that was walking on a ditch. Only see the head sticking out. It's gone behind that palm tree now. Think we have lost the sight of them now. So I think we're gonna carry on and see what else we can find in the meantime as they're walking away. So in this nice open grassland, we're gonna check around this nice open grassland and hope that we'll find some cheetah, because this is a nice habitat for them. So while we are around this area, our time to find cheetah or to increase chances of finding cheetah, it's if we cover some ground and try to cover some many roads as we can. So what we're looking for is that head sticking out and that tawny looking color. So this time of the day, because it's nice and cool, so if we do find cheetah, they will be walking around and looking for opportunity for them to hunt. If we do find a male cheetah, we're expecting them to be walking around and patrolling their territory. So obviously, while they're patrolling their territory, if they come across with opportunity for them to hunt, then they will definitely take it. But most of the time here, because it's nice and open, they don't really spend a lot of time walking along the road. They will also walk through the open grassland and go to the termite mounds and sand mark against the termite mound, or even choose a bigger tree, because they know that if there's a new male cheetah that's about to take their territory, it will also go and sand mark at the bigger object like a bigger tree. And so while I'm driving around, Andrew, he has found another bird as well that he wants to share knowledge with you about it.
Great, thanks indeed, Busan. So we got also a bird, which is one of the beautiful bird out here, a lilac-breasted roller. You know, sometimes it does look towards us, but sometimes, like right now, it's looking away, but we're at the treehouse dam, so whether seeing something flying around, just hunting methods that catch things on the fly. Sometimes I go down when I see a bird, and then I catch it and I go back to the same perch or different perch, but now it's looking away from us.
It's a nice windy day. You can just see the grass moving. It is really, really windy. I think we've got like a northwesterly wind by the looks of it. And I'm gonna keep quiet now and we enjoy this nice open grassland and see how diverse it is. Wow, it was really amazing. It is very quiet as well. So we're gonna listen.
We have another wonderful guest with us, Sergio Real. Sergio is a holder of the Ticket to Dream.
I bought a Ticket to Dream because I love WildEarth. All of the guides have been awesome. We've been watching for years, and it's a favorite part of my day to get to watch the drives. I look forward to seeing lots of leopards.
If you want to go on safari with a WildEarth guide, whilst honing your bush knowledge and of course featuring in one of our shows, then head over to our website.
My favorite part of the drive today was definitely an elephant that paid us a visit and came right to our car.
Sign up to be a WildEarth Explorer and you could be making your first ever on-screen appearance.
It's amazing being on a live drive in Djuma. It's just fantastic. The scenery is beautiful and the animals are even better.
The Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa, WESA, encourages people to care for the earth. Through innovative projects, they aim to reverse the serious issues that we face in the world today. One of these projects is Green Coast, a proudly South African award for sensitive and well-managed coastal sites. This sustainability project protects our national coastlines while providing unemployed youth with a love for their environment and a hope for the future. WESA is a membership and volunteer-supported organisation. Every supporter is helping to change the only earth we have. Visit our website to see how you can help care for our earth.
Oh, it's going to be in trouble now. Oh, this is unbelievable stuff. Here comes a hippo in too.
Go, Impala. There's a hippo coming in. I can't believe what we're seeing here. This is what we normally see in East Africa. It's all over. Hippo leaping at the crocodile now. Everything's gone underwater.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
So everybody, and we're not too sure because they wanted to go to the. Now they're coming back to the open again. So, but I'm not sure. They all of a sudden went and ran back into that position, probably because of the wind also. But if we're going to spend time with them, we'll probably notice or experience if they ever seen something, because then they will make sound once they spot the danger around them. It's such a beautiful, it's one of the also animal that they more likely to associate with the other animals, such as the zebras and impalas, giraffes sometimes. But that's also provide their feeding habit, but also the safety and number. They're truly wanting to go back to that direction. So they pretty much fall into bovine animals, such the cows or the buffaloes. The fact that male and the female, they grow horns. When you look at them, they're most. And the color can be slightly different, where females they slightly kind of a goldish but browny colors, where male they have dark, even their face it's much darker when you look at them there. But these are pretty much look like the female, more especially towards us. Looks like she's now had it decided, now I'm going in. Where it looks like also these two, they might followed. Definitely they will follow her. So direction of now, the way they're going, they would end up into quarantine, where it's slightly opened. And then they may mix up there with the various different antelopes, or they even go maybe down to drink to Gary Dam later, because now then it's going to be much lighter. The temperature is slightly rise. So I think this is what they're going to be doing. And now they just have vanished. So everybody, firstly, I just want to truly apologize to all of the technical issues you all experienced during the show. So it was an easy morning for us, but hopefully this afternoon, since we're coming in at pretty much end of the show, so we are hoping to see everybody this afternoon again. And then I believe it's going to be clearly sky and pretty much slightly warmer for animals to come out for us. For now, goodbye until we see you this afternoon.